Hey guys, CJ Hernandez here. Today's video is going to be featuring MKS servos. Particularly, we're going to be looking at the HBL 575 and the SL version. The reason why I'm doing this video is because, honestly, these two servos can kind of cross over into each other's territories regarding platforms. So, when I mean that, I mean like if you look at a four-wheel drive buggy 10 scale, you can honestly use these two options and they will be viable options. Now, just to give you a little bit of specs, the 575 SL weighs about 50 grams, while the 575 weighs about 70. And looking at the voltage, they also have different operating voltages, meaning that the SL version can operate at 4.8 volts to 7.4, while its big brother can operate at 6 volts to 8.4 volts, which is quite a bit more. Now, when looking at torque and speed, the 575 SL is going to range from about 138 ounces to all the way to 233 ounces depending on the voltage, meaning that at 4.8 volts it's going to have like 0.1 speed, 138 ounces of torque, while at 7.4 volts it's going to have like 233 ounces of torque and about 0.07 speed, I believe. Now, when we look at the 575, the standard servo, the bigger servo, just to clarify, its operating voltage was 6 to 8.4 volts, meaning that the speed of the servo is going to range from 0.08 to all the way to 0.06. And also the range of the torque is going to be quite significantly higher because it is a standard servo, meaning that at 6 volts it's going to have about 250 ounces of torque, and all the way up to 8.4 volts it can have 303 ounces of torque, which is quite a bit different. Now, going back to what I was saying, which platforms are you going to want to run this in versus that? It really depends on what you're trying to do with the servos. So let's say you have a servo and you want to specifically have that servo for one car. That's going to be a little different than having a servo that jumps from one car to another. And an example of that could be something like you run in the winter 10 scale, but in the summer you run 8 scale. And let's say you don't have a ton of servos, so you just carry that servo from one place to another. Now, when looking at that specifically, we need to look at what platforms we're running. So we'll look at the 10 scale four-wheel drive buggy first. Personally, 9 times out of 10, I really feel like the 575 SL will be the choice because it's a super shorty servo, meaning that it's lighter weight, more compact, you could fit it in tighter places, and it has more than enough torque and speed for that platform. However, I want to clarify that there is certain times the 575 will be better in that platform. Now, if we're running 13.5, the 575 all the way, meaning the SL version 575, I would definitely recommend that for 13.5, no doubt. When we're running the 575, it kind of gets tricky because if you're running mod, or let's say you're running 13.5 or mod on carpet, you're definitely going to have that feeling of, do I need that extra added torque? And I'll explain why you might want that extra torque, because being that carpet is so abrasive, it's making that servo work a lot harder. Now, don't get me wrong, I ran the 575 SL on the 13.5 four-wheel drive on carpet and never had a durability issue and had awesome performance. However, I did try the standard servo 575 and the car ran phenomenal. Now you may ask, well, then which servo do I want to run? Well, I'm going to break it down this way. It's not that the 575 SL can't work on carpet, it's just that its big brother, because it has increased amount of torque, it's going to have an easier time to perform. So, I'm not saying you're overworking the servo, I'm just saying this is going to work a lot easier. You also have to take in consideration the speeds of these servos. The 575 standard servo is a lot faster than the 575 SL. Now, maybe 1/100th of a second doesn't seem like a lot because at its max voltage here is 0.07 and the max voltage here is 0.06. But on situations on high bite tracks, it's definitely going to affect your performance, because if it's too fast, it can cause your car to be too twitchy. So just to sum that up a little bit, I definitely believe these two servos have a place in the 10 scale four-wheel drive market. I just believe it kind of depends on where you're running it at. If you're running carpet, I definitely would recommend the 575 because of the added torque. However, if you're running 13.5 and you need to get to minimum weight, I would definitely recommend the 575 SL. If you're looking at a 10 scale two-wheel drive short course, you're kind of in a similar boat because you have the extra weight of the actual car. So depending if you're running the 17.5 class in short course, I would definitely recommend the 575 SL. However, if you're running mod or carpet, I would definitely recommend the 575. Now when you look at to a platform like two-wheel drive Buggy, that's either 17.5 or mod, I really think the 575 SL will be more than enough. And maybe in some situations in mod two-wheel drive on carpet, you might like the 575. However, I feel like the 575 SL will be your guy. Now, going back to earlier when I was saying maybe you run only in the winter 10 scale and only 8 scale in the winter and you don't have a lot of servos and you like to carry them over. Well, let's say you run any 10 scale in the winter and you run 8 scale in the summer. I would definitely recommend the 575 for both, because with that added torque, this servo is going to be able to handle that heavier car, and it's not going to get overworked. If you use the 575 SL in your 8 scale Buggy, it's going to blow out. It just doesn't have that torque power that's needed to move those bigger wheels. And when I say 8 scale, that can range from E-Buggy, Nitro Buggy, and Truggy. Now, if you feel like you only have one servo or you're just limited to one servo due to circumstances, I would definitely recommend the 575, as it's going to be more versatile in moving in all kinds of locations such as traction and different 8 scale or platform settings. I hope that makes it a little clear. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment or message me on Facebook at CJ Hernandez. I also have an Instagram, CJ RC Racing. And if it's easier to comment here on YouTube, feel free to comment and I'll try to reply as quick as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and of course, if you want more content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next time. Have a great night.